Northamptonshire football podcast. We've got a bit of a boxing special this week with Kieron Conway. Kieron, thanks for coming in.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
How are you, mate? You okay?
Yeah, very well. Very well.
It's obviously coming up to big fight week. Before we touch on that, firstly, how are you? Family now?
Yeah. I've got a family. I've got a baby daughter, which is such a blessing for me. I love being a dad. It changed a lot for me. I'll say it changed everything, but it changed a lot. And it brought out a new kind of side to me that I didn't really show, like a softer. I'm emotional, but it's a good thing. It's so powerful at the same time. It drives you so much when it's hard in training, and I train a lot on my own, like in my conditioning. I have programs, but I do it on my own.
Yeah.
And when it gets hard and you don't want to do that extra round, the thought of my daughter comes into my head and pushes me through quite well.
Yeah.
And with my last fight as well, I chose a ring walk song that reminded me of her, like we were playing a certain song and stuff. And I really felt it. So having a family now, it's benefited me in so many ways, as well as just being a dad. I love being a dad anyway, but it's just it makes you feel a little bit more complete.
Yeah,
if I'm honest, I love it.
Yeah, it's wicked. It's the best feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is she and your wife supportive of the boxing thing, and they back you all the time, I'm guessing?
Yeah. She's my fiance. She's very supportive.
Yeah.
Very, very good mum as well. Does things that massively helps my career, my possibilities in my career as well. Makes life and boxing a lot easier.
Nice.
Some people don't have this luxury, but she's a very good mum, very helpful, and takes a few weights off my shoulders so I can focus on supporting the family.
Nice. Yeah. Do they sort of travel around different venues and everywhere you go, but pretty much? Or?
Yeah, they've been very good with the travelling. So my baby, for example, a few weeks old, she came to one of my press conferences before my last fight. She got really involved. Everyone in Matchroom really welcomed her as well. So that was nice to see. And they both have travelled with me quite a bit. They didn't come to Japan, which was a personal choice because I wanted the extra drive of missing my baby to almost take out on my opponent. But they've been, my fiance, she's been around the world with me now with boxing. My baby's been around the country with me through boxing, and that's how I like it.
Yeah, nice. She's still a baby.
She's only 5 months old now.
Yeah. So she won't be at the fight coming up?
No, she's not going to be at the fight, and neither will my fiance, but they'll be at the hotel waiting for me. They'll be watching it on the screens.
Yeah, nice. So obviously, was it about 2 weeks to go now?
Yeah, just over 2 weeks. Training is in a vital area of training camp. Hard weeks, couple of hard weeks before we start taper. These weeks are very important for the sharpening and the tweaking.
Yeah.
So everything's very focused on something. There's always a goal with each session. It's not just turn up to training and there's just punch bags and that. Everything is very thought through and, like I said, focused.
What's your week consist of then? Obviously 2 weeks to go. Is it, I assume it's more and more as you get closer to the fight? I mean, are you training every single day? Yeah,
we train every day except Saturdays. Saturday is my rest day.
Yeah.
I train twice a day. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Once Sunday, once Tuesday, and Saturday is a rest day. And it will stay like that, but things slightly change. Like I said, it becomes more focused on a goal, on a specific goal each session. Things become busy with boxing things not related to training, such as sponsorships, meetings with supporters, sponsors, things like that. Things like sorting out your fight kits and your team fight kit. This all is done with help. Like, I have teams to do most of this stuff with me, but I like to be involved. I'm a little bit of control freak in my own right. It's my career, so I like to have control as much as I possibly can. So yeah, things become busy these few weeks, a few medicals, etc., that you have to do. So yeah, so it's flat out for the next couple of weeks, which is probably the best way, so you don't overthink things and you just get the job done.
Yeah. Is it all local training? You've been away in training camps or?
My training camp has been based locally, but you sometimes go away for things like sparring. Sometimes you get sparring in. I have previously done training camps in other places, such as Fuerteventura, Marbella, and some other places too. But yeah, it's mainly local. So it's just on my doorstep, really.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, nice. Half hour here, half hour there, except sparring. So yeah, it's nice and easy.
Nice. Obviously, your opponent then, this Commonwealth Championship, Ryan Kelly. I'm assuming you've done a bit of scouting, you've watched some of his fights, and you got a plan in mind?
Yeah, I know Ryan very well.
Do you?
To a certain extent. So years ago, when I first was turning pro from the amateurs, he was one of the lads I did a few rounds with, like, quite often.
Yeah.
Well, I did, not often, but regular. So I know what he's going to bring. He's a couple of years older than me, so he's a little bit ahead of me in his pro career at that time. I know what he's going to bring. I know what he's going to try. I know what they're going to say to him in the corner. But I'm not that 19, 20-year-old that he used to spar with.
No.
And even putting that out there, I wouldn't say that he had it too easy back then. But I'm not that anymore. I'm 28, coming up to 29. I'm a lot bigger, a lot stronger, a lot more experienced. And it's going to be a good fight, but he's going to bring it. He's going to try and stick it on me, and it's going to play into my hands. Nice. And because that's what I need. I need somebody to put the pressure on. It brings out the best in me. If I hit you and you stand off me for the next 10 or 12 rounds, sometimes I've fell into a trap of being a little bit lazy and I'll just cruise and just win on points. When in reality, I probably should have went in an extra gear and got the job done a little bit quicker. So I'm glad that I've got an opponent that I think when I hit him and hit him hard early, he's going to keep coming. Yeah. And it's going to bring out a very good fight.
Nice. You said you know him very well. Was there a friendship there? Was there a bit of any bad blood, or was it just know each other as far as it goes? I
know him through what I've just mentioned, a few rounds sparring here and there. I've seen him around. I've never had bad blood with him. And I know they say boxing is business, but when you've got family, he also has a family, it becomes personal. Yeah. You're trying to take something away from my family now, and that makes it personal to me. Yeah. And I will take that out on you, because that's how I see it as well. Like, my baby, she's a little baby, and you're trying to take everything that I've planned for her in the future away from her, and you're trying to take her security away from her, a roof over her head potentially. So, like I said, I will take that out on my opponent.
Is that, like you say, your daughter and your fiance were in Japan? Is that going to be a similar motive there? You know, doing it for these, you want to give them everything. This is part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's my whole drive and motivation. Every single day, every training session, every fight, it's for them.
Yeah, of course.
It's hard sometimes being a pro boxer. It's not as glamorous as what it may seem sometimes on TV and social media. There's a lot of grit that gets involved. So, like I said, each day it's for them.
Yeah, nice. Is it? I mean, what's it like being in the ring? It's easy to say, you know, the guy flying in and you'll knock everyone out. But I mean, people from the outside of the boxing world, like myself, we stand back and say, look, I want to get in there and knock him out. It's not like that all the time, is it?
No, because people from the outside, they may. overlook that there's another man in front of you that's doing equal things, or every single tiny adjustment that you make, they also are making a tiny adjustment. So the big shot, like a lot of people in the outside of boxing world would think, why don't you just swing and just hit them as hard as you can? It kind of don't work like that at all. Just the slight movement that your shoulder makes, their foot makes this movement. The slight movement that your hand makes, theirs makes this movement. It could be inches. Boxing is a game of centimeters, in fact, not even inches, millimeters even. So it's boxing. It's not as simple as what people think. It's not just punching. It's not just I hit him more times than he hits me, or I hit him harder than what he hits me. There's probably more of it is about thinking and outthinking that person. It's strategy. It's that's how boxing is.
So obviously you got a plan there for this fight coming up. Then what are you hoping? Are you hoping for a knockout? Are you hoping win on points, or have you not thought that far ahead yet?
I have, and I've thought about probably every scenario and situation, because that's what you've got to be prepared for that as well. You've got to be prepared for every situation. You may want to get the knockout because it's glamorous, but it may not come because of many different reasons. So you've got to be prepared to go the 12 rounds. 12 rounds is a long time to be in a ring with another man as well, that's equally trained as long as you have and is having the same goals as what you have. It's a long time. You have to be prepared for millions of situations, not just 1, 2, or 3. But yeah, of course, so I want the knockout.
Yeah, obviously, let me rephrase it. Sorry, obviously you want the knockout. Is that part of your plan? Is that what you can see happening? Or are you I'll say, it's going to be a good fight. Can you see yourself knocking him out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%, because like I said, he's going to bring it. And I think he may know that I'm a lot heavier handed than what things may suggest. So him walking onto it is just going to make it a little bit more fun for me. I've got very good timing as well. I'm bigger than him, longer than him. And yeah, I think the time will come a little bit down the stretch, maybe like around 7, 8, or 9.
Yeah.
That sort of time is when I come to life as well. So yeah, that's kind of like where I see the end of the game.
Good,
as they say.
Obviously, best of luck there. I'll say we'll be following you there. So best of luck with that.
Appreciate that.
Obviously, I wanted to touch on Matchroom there. You signed to Matchroom. Who else on the card? Have you come across any other big fighters yet?
On the card?
Yeah.
This card is a very good card. Sonny Edwards versus Yafai. It's interesting. And yes, people may overlook it because they are the little guys, but they're very big names in boxing. Yeah, and the people in boxing realise this is a big fight. A lot of history between the two family. This has emotion towards their fight, so it's a good one. It's a good undercard to be on. Good for Birmingham. Good for local boxing as well. It's good for our town. There's myself. There's another pro fighter from my gym called Mike Stevenson. He's on the card as well. Yeah. He's in a very good fight, and he's looking very sharp at the moment. So I hope this is his breakthrough. He needs that. He's been very kicked on in this training camp. I've never seen him this focused. He usually isn't quite like this. So I'm looking forward to this show for many reasons. Myself, Mike, Sonny, even. So yeah, like I said, this is a good show. Have you had many dealings with like the big fighters from Matchroom? I mean, have come across, you met any of them? Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Is it all of them? Common occurrence, is it? Yeah, because I like to put myself in. I like to go to as many shows as I can. Yeah. Because watching boxing, being around boxing, you're subconsciously learning. You're purposely learning as well. Sometimes watching some of the the fighters up close, because when you're there, instead of on TV, you see slight movements, especially when you know what you're looking for. You see slight things, movements, even where eyes are looking. These are a big factor. For example, like you're making eye contact and you look down, you look up, you make quick adjustments and slight movements that trigger and pull opponents into certain things, and slight like shoulder nudges, etc. There's loads to it, and you notice that more up close rather than on TV. So I like to go to shows for that reason.
Yeah.
Obviously, getting my own face and name out there a little bit more around the boxing community as well. It can't hurt. So yeah, I know all the fighters. Yeah, we all know each other. All the fighters very nice, friendly, and welcoming. Like we're all good friends.
Yeah, no, not much bad blood there.
No, not unless they're my weight.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Obviously, we're gonna have a touch back on there on your last fight. Then, I'll let you pronounce your man's name.
I don't even think I've ever tried to say his name. Yilixiati
Ainiwear Yilixiati, or I might be wrong. Apologies if it is. But obviously that was over in Japan anyway. Quarter final. You beat him, knocked him out. What was that feeling like, fighting in obviously Japan and then again getting that knockout?
Yeah, Japan was a very good experience. Massive thanks to Matchroom, my management. They've gave me some good experience. They've gave me some experiences in boxing. They've sent me around the world. I've been very fortunate in that sense. So again, thanks to them. And that was one that I'll remember for many reasons. Like I went there. What did we do? 10 days. I think we went there 10 days before. And I slept probably 10 hours in the whole week. The whole 10 days I was there. It was awful. I don't know what affected me so badly. Everyone was going, oh yeah, it took me 2 days to adjust. I just did not adjust. No. Nothing changed. I was trying all sorts of like herbs, melatonin to try and get myself to sleep. Just did not work. No. And I'd managed to fall asleep for an hour. I'd wake up. This happened from day one. I'd wake up and I'd be like, oh, that must be a good 4 or 5 hours. I look at my phone and I'm like, 1 hour? No way. I feel wide awake. And maybe half an hour it took me to fall back to sleep. Wake up again and I'd be like, right, that's definitely 5 or 6 hours. 1 hour later, I'm like, no. Happened again. 3 times on the first night, I woke up thinking we must be near daytime now. Well, near time to get up. No, it was just an hour later. Yeah, I had no sleep. And it went like that for the first 2 days. And then after that, I basically just could not fall asleep until 9:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. It was pure daylight. I just fell asleep through exhaustion, I think. Yeah. But I had to be up because on fight weeks and stuff, you have to do things. I was up 11, so I'd have 2 hours sleep at night. Yeah. Every single day until I weighed in. And that night after my weigh-in, I managed to sleep 6 hours. So I slept 6 hours before the fight and I was exhausted going into that fight. But you have to do it.
Yeah, hard, obviously. Was it full on training over there as well then?
You don't full on train, but you have to make weight and stuff. Yeah. So you have to do a little bit of a here and there session, touch some pads, stay sharp. 10 days is a long time to not train. Yeah. So you have to stay sharp and stuff, but there's all sorts of jobs you have to do, media work and things like that. It gets not too busy, but it gets a little bit busy. It's not just like you can't just sit around. You've got obligations, but Japan was a very interesting experience. We also did a little bit of having a look around locally because how many times are you there? So you do a little bit.
I heard Japan's supposed to be mad. It's supposed to be wicked over there. What did you think of the country itself?
Yeah, really good experience in that sense. Yeah. To see all the different cultural differences. Very strange or interesting to see the differences in the street, because there's like small differences, like you're not really supposed to eat or drink in the street. So there's none of that so takeaway is it's not really happening.
Right.
So you get things and you sit and then you carry on. Very respectful country. Manners is a big thing. And if you don't follow those unwritten rules, people make it clear.
Right.
You can kind of tell that you haven't followed those rules. So interesting place. And yeah, then after the fight, we went up to one of the mountains, seen some temples, did that sort of thing. So it was good experience, one that I'll remember forever.
Yeah.
Again, thanks to Matchroom and my management.
Yeah, nice. Obviously, so you're going to the semis, and that was due to take place in October, wasn't it? Why is that not gone ahead?
I think it's more like business reasons why that didn't happen between Matchroom and the company in Japan. I think they're called Rakuten. So just things didn't line up properly for maybe both parties. So we potentially will carry that on in the new year. But in the meantime, I need to fight. I can't just fight once in a year when I've been ready. So we have to get this fight in, pick up another title, and see what happens next.
Is that obviously what? So you pick up the title. What happens after that? Where are you going after that? Any ideas yet? Has it not even crossed your mind yet?
Yeah. So obviously, like I just said, the Japanese tournament is still sitting there. We're just on the back burner of that, waiting to see what happens with that. But also win the Commonwealth title, and then I was supposed to be fighting for the British title, but boxing politics got in the way of that. So we stepped aside, agreed to let the champion fight a different person, and then I'm next in line for the winner.
How frustrating is that?
It's been a frustrating year.
Did you have no say in that at all? It was just that the board says.
The board put me forward for it. So this is a outside deal, what happened. This is just one of those things that comes with boxing. Very political, very business orientated. And we just have to kind of get on with it. There's a title there as it is. I'm not in any worse position for doing this.
No.
So we agree to certain stipulations and we move on and we see what happens next.
Yeah. So obviously you win this fight coming up, get your Commonwealth title. What's in your head? What do you want to do next? Who would you have next if you could choose?
I think next it should be the British champion.
Yeah.
Whoever comes out with that title next, it should be that.
Who would that be at the time? Who's fighting for it? You know,
it's Brad Pauls versus Denzel Bentley. It's a good fight.
Yeah.
I was all prepared to be fighting Brad Pauls. That's who the board ordered me to fight because he's the champion. But whoever wins that, I like. It doesn't make any difference to me whatsoever.
Fancy yourself against both of them.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, we're if I'm not winning British titles and I'm not winning at this level, then what am I doing in the game? Kind of thing. So, yeah, whoever wins that, we'll probably be fighting next. If not, maybe the tournament continues. So it may be that. So we just have to see.
Suck it and see what happens. Nice. I do want to touch back. I know a little while ago, a fight went in Vegas. I mean, that was the home of boxing for years, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You got an opportunity to fight there on a Canelo Golovkin card as well. That's massive, isn't it?
Yeah.
What was that when you got offered that? Was it just jump at it straight away?
So I've boxed on Canelo card before as well.
Yeah.
In Texas. Again, he was fighting Billy Joe Saunders. That was a huge event. There was 75,000 people in the stadium, and it was COVID times. So we had lockdowns over here, and over there we had 75,000 people in one venue. So that made it a little bit more exciting, a lot more exciting. Canelo card, so it was that was like my second pay-per-view. I'd been on an Anthony Joshua card the previous year in London. That was interesting because it was COVID where you was only allowed 1,000 people in the venue. That was really interesting times.
Yeah.
So went from there. Canelo with 75,000 people, huge event. That was surreal because as I stepped foot off the bus, there was 100 Mexican people standing outside the, Mexican, Texans, standing outside the hotel what I was about to walk into. And they all were shouting my name. They all calling me over to sign all sorts of things. And that made it really, that was like my first experience of like, whoa.
How good does that make you feel? Like,
Yeah.
all these Mexicans and calling you on name, like, you know what I mean?
I was so surprised how they were so desperate almost to get me to come over and stuff. I didn't think these would even know who I am.
No.
And then even after the fight, I didn't even get a decision, but the Mexican people that were there to see Canelo are so welcoming. If you're the one trying to force a fight, they love you. And they loved me for some reason.
No.
And I was signing people's shoes. I was having random hundreds of photos that night. I just did not expect it being so far away from my home.
No.
And I know in particular there's one shoe somewhere in this world where they've got a signature from me and Roy Jones Jr. and that's it.
That's some boot.
There's one shoe somewhere in this world with that on. And that was really strange to think about at the time as well, young, and yeah, that was good. And then like you asked about Vegas.
So just before you speak about Vegas, then just on a question there. So you got your Texas and Vegas. Obviously, Vegas is Canelo against Golovkin, massive fight. On the other side of it, you've got Billy Joe Saunders there. Was the British crowd being there for Billy Joe, did that add to your experience between the difference of the two fights?
No, because there was no British crowd.
Was there not?
Because COVID didn't let us go.
Right, okay.
So we wasn't allowed to fly. I don't know if we weren't allowed to fly at all, but we weren't allowed to fly to America unless it was business use.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
So I remember the flight, there was like 10 people on the flight. It was a huge plane and there was like 10 of us on there. So we must have been there for business use. But yeah, it was like you couldn't even get a visa back then unless you're there for business. So strange time, the whole crowd was purely like Mexicans and Texans. They were there screaming for Canelo. But it was interesting as well because when I came out onto the weigh-in stage, you have a big ceremonial weigh-in. There was like 6,000 people at the weigh-in. Every single person there booed me because they thought I was with Billy Joe Saunders. That was interesting as well, yeah. And then after the fight, they all really enjoyed having me. So that was good.
Nice. So yeah, touching on Vegas then, was that like, so obviously from the less knowledgeable boxing fan, Vegas was, for me, is the home of boxing. That is where the biggest fights happen. Did it feel like that when you got there?
Yeah. We stayed in the MGM and there was a huge arrivals ceremony. Actually, I was there before the arrivals ceremony. I went there a little bit earlier. But there was already 2 weeks before a ring placed in the middle of the MGM entrance with the lion and all this other stuff to promote the fight. Yeah. Huge like WBC belt. So they really made a big thing about it. Nobody could walk through the MGM without seeing it. So yeah, it felt like that was the big stage. And then obviously we had the arrival ceremony a few days later. Thousands of people just crowded into the entrance of MGM for the fighters' arrivals. And then like the weigh-in again, it was thousands of people. And it was done really good. It really was done good. And on the same weekend, it was one of the Mexican days. There's two Mexican big celebrations, isn't there? Cinco de Mayo. I think it was the other one. Is it?
I'm not sure.
There's another one. Is it Independence Day or is that the same?
Maybe, I'm not
sure. It was either one of those. So the streets of Vegas were hammered. Yeah. Mexican people like playing music, big giant cars, trucks, and fire, and it was all massive celebration. So it was a huge event, a huge event. At the T-Mobile Arena as well, the fight, especially for Canelo versus Golovkin. It was unbelievable experience. So I sat in the crowd with a broken nose, pouring of blood. It wasn't too enjoyable for me. I had to leave on like round 1 or something because I was really bleeding that day. So we had to shoot off. But such an event, really was.
Yeah. I mean, did you meet either of them while you were over there? Did you get to speak to any?
Yeah, you're around these sort of people and stuff. You don't spend too much time with them. They're very reserved.
Yeah.
Of course, they can't give time to everybody that wants their time. But yeah, everyone, boxers, we're all friends with each other unless they're my weight, like I said.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, nice. Obviously, British boxing at the minute then, I mean, it's really, especially in Northampton, we're thriving at the minute. Obviously, we've got Chantelle Cameron, Ben and Carl Fowl. Do you have much to do with them? Ethan James as well, obviously.
Ethan James is from the same gym.
Yeah.
Chantelle Cameron, very, very successful. I used to train with Chantelle in the amateurs at King's Heath Boxing Club, and Ethan actually. So I've known them both for a long time. Ben and Carl, I've not really had too much interactions with them.
No.
In the amateurs, maybe a couple of spars here and there. Nothing of like any real substance. Actually, saying that, I boxed Carl Fowl and he beat me in a championship, which really frustrated me. Like, on the night, I remember I thought I won the fight. It was one of those where nothing really happened in the fight and could have went either way, I think. So yeah, with those two, I've not had much going on. But Northampton is buzzing. One name that's been left off that list is Ben Vaughan.
Oh yeah.
His last fight was against Echo Essuman. It was only 2 weeks ago when Ethan James last fought as well. Probably the fight of the year it will get.
Yeah.
Unbelievable fight. Unbelievable performance from Ben. We all knew that he had that sort of thing in him as well, because we've seen him from the amateurs. He was a very successful amateur as well, going to Commonwealth Games with Ethan. They've both been around the world together. And yeah, we always knew that sort of performance was in Ben Vaughan. He's a fighter, like Rocky Balboa style. He will fight and fight and fight, and he'll just keep fighting. You'll be hitting him and he's there. You will have to pin him to the ground if you want to beat him.
Yeah.
That was the performance he brought out. And he fell short. I thought he won. A lot of people in the venue thought he won. Think he was hard done by a little bit. Won't shout robberies or anything, but I really did think he won. Very close fight though.
Will that spur him on, come back stronger over that?
I hope so. I know Frank Warren really liked him and appreciated his performance, so I think he'll be back on a Frank Warren show very soon.
Good.
Well, he just heal up, rest up after his last fight, and then he'll be back.
Yeah, nice. Obviously, with all this talent coming from Northampton, can we see a show coming to town anytime soon?
It's definitely possible. I've heard it be spoken about various times. It's been spoken about with Matchroom.
Yeah.
I think if we can bring back some good titles to Northampton, for example, the British title or something like that, we can build shows around that. And yeah, I definitely think it's potential.
Where would you hope that would be? Franklin's Gardens? Or?
I think it'll be Franklin's Garden. Yeah. I think that's always been the place that I've heard the talks about. So yeah, I'd like to see it there in the next couple of years.
It'd be great obviously for yourselves.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be great for the town as well, wouldn't it?
Definitely. There's huge fights to make there as well. Again, like bring British titles back and then eventually further British, Commonwealth, European and maybe world titles.
Yeah. So obviously talking about Northampton, you've got a bit of an event coming up this Saturday down Aberdeen Park. Is it Kieron Conway Run Club? Is that the name of it? Is it? Or is it just the Run Club? Or?
Well, it's a Matchroom event.
Yeah. Matchroom
organise and run the event. It's basically to push my and Mike's next fight.
Yeah. And
ourselves, of course, and just a few more eyes on the show and us in particular. Being local to Birmingham, put this event on. It'll be interesting as well. There'll be some good numbers there. I'd say close to 100 people will be running around Abington Park. I think the more the better. It'll be good to see. It'll be good to see Northampton get behind the boxing in this aspect. I think everybody's welcome as well. So, like I said, the more the better. Abington Park, 9:30 a.m. on Saturday.
Yeah.
I'd like to see some numbers there. I'll have both of my belts there. There'll be photo opportunities. There's the sponsors there as well with drip water. There's T-shirts that are getting given out by the sponsors too. So it'll be a good little event, or a good big event, hopefully. Definitely some eyes and cameras, photos to be taken and plastered around Northampton and help it out a little bit.
Yeah, well, hopefully, like I say, the town can get behind it. We'll share this, get as many people there as we can as well.
Yeah.
So it's a 5K run around the park.
Yep.
Based at the Park Cafe, is that right?
That's where the meet point is.
Yeah.
The Park Cafe. Yes, 5K. Won't be too quick, so nobody's going to get left behind.
No.
Potentially, I'll be the pacemaker and I'll take it nice and slow. I know there's all sorts of ages coming already, from young kids up to maybe slightly older people.
Yeah, nice.
So we all want to stay together and have a big crowd of us running around Abington Park together.
Nice. Have you spoke to Tony Ansell, who runs the Park Cafe? Is he gonna? I'm sure he'll be open with the business opportunity there for him.
Yeah, exactly. It's massive opportunity there. Hopefully they've got a few more staff in. Hopefully Matchroom at this moment have spoke to them.
I assume you'd be aware of it. So, like you say, you expected about 100 people there.
I'd say so, between 50 and 100. Maybe we could even get some more if people are willing to give up their 30 minutes to an hour to come meet everybody, come get involved, grab a T-shirt, grab some photos, and just have a nice little morning to start the weekend.
Like you say, yeah, it'd be nice to see them belts as well.
Yeah, exactly.
On show, so
exactly.
It'd be good. Yeah, hopefully we'll get as many as we can down there.
Yeah.
Come on, fair play. So, sorry, just touching Michael Stevenson there. You say is he in Northampton now?
He is originally based in Bedford,
right?
But now he's based in Northampton, trains in the same gym as me.
Yeah.
We're actually often sparring partners because we're a similar kind of weight. Like, he's a light heavyweight, but I'm quite big for a middleweight, so I'd spar with light heavyweights usually. So yeah, he's one of my more regular sparring partners. Yeah, so he's come on leaps and bounds in the last few years, and especially this last training camp, he's really feels like he's grabbed this opportunity with both hands. So hopefully on fight night, he gives the performance that replicates that too.
Oh, fair play. Yeah, good luck to obviously him and yourself.
Thank you very much.
Just going back to the boxing there, we'll touch on British boxing in general. Obviously, big fights coming up. What's the fight of the year for you so far?
Fight of the year for me so far is Ben Vaughan versus Echo Esserman.
Yeah.
100%. Maybe it was better because I know him and it was up close, but I know when I was sitting ringside, I heard many, many people behind me saying how good of a fight this was. It's unbelievable. It's like Rocky Balboa. It's like this. There was a lot of people talking on that night, and I'm thinking, since that night as well, I think the boxing world has remembered that fight, and now Ben Vaughan has stamped his name into the public eye, because he was also coming up on the small hall card, a little bit of a secret. Now it's not so much a secret.
Oh, good. Did you say, obviously, we've got the big boys as well? Obviously, there's talks of Usyk and Fury, and is that something you can see happening? And it's like, oh, it's coming up, innit? But do you reckon which way that's going to go? You got any thoughts on that?
I often say that it's hard to turn around. Rematches often go the same way as they went the first time. I don't see this being turned around either. No. Although Tyson will have more drive in this fight to put a number on it. And will Usyk is what my question in my own head is. He's won it. He's done it. When you're about to do it, it's a lot easier to be driven. But when you are it's it's harder to be driven because you've already got it. Would like to see. But it's obviously a very, very interesting fight. The heavyweight division is very interesting at the moment. There's all sorts going on. People passing belts around, passing wins and losses around. It's very interesting.
Well, is there any fights out there you'd like to see made? Obviously, everyone was banging off the ears about Fury and Joshua getting that made. It's never come off. Do you think we'll ever see that? And what's one fight you'd love to see?
A fight that I'd love to see is a hard question for me. I've not really thought about that too much.
No.
Never really have thought about that too much because I'm very tunnel visioned. But I would like to see AJ versus Fury made purely for boxing. Yeah. Purely so it's not another one that goes 10 years later we go, oh, that fight was never made.
Yeah.
And that'll be a huge, huge event. Even with AJ's losses, Fury's losses, or loss, a huge event still. A huge event.
Can you realistically see that being made?
I can.
Yeah.
Do you
reckon it'd be here or in Saudi?
Probably Saudi.
Yeah.
Because it's a difficult one to make. It's a difficult one, but it's an easy one as well. When you've got the sort of pool that Turkey has, it'll be easy to make.
Yeah.
I think that it'll happen. It has to happen. I've heard talks of things, and I'm pretty sure this fight will happen eventually. Yeah. Regardless of what happens in either of their next fight, I don't see why it would never happen. It just makes sense for boxing, especially British boxing. It's a huge fight, even now, even if they both lose.
Can you see it being similar to like Mayweather Pacquiao and just coming too late in the day?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. If it's not done pretty soon, it is coming too late.
Yeah.
It should be done already. So, yeah, potentially. But it'll still be a huge event. Yeah. So, regardless, everybody will still watch.
Yeah, of course it will, yeah. We just, so I just mentioned Saudi there. What's your thoughts on the boxing, sort of them taking over boxing now, trying to get the biggest fights over there?
I don't have an issue with it.
No.
If that's the question. I think it's really great, to be honest. I think that there's people getting paid in boxing now that maybe wouldn't have even thought of getting paid in certain amounts of money. I think it's giving opportunities that weren't already there. I think it's giving opportunities for the people that are not fighting in Saudi to now excel in this country in particular, because a lot of main event fights and fighters are being taken over there, which now gives opportunity for the next ones to come along. So if people can see it that way and focus on themselves and doing something big themselves, there could be a positive in this country as well. But definitely there's opportunities being made that some people wouldn't have had before.
Yeah.
So certain matchups and stuff.
No, that's a good spin on it, like you say, yeah.
Yeah.
People like yourself getting on these big fights. So
yeah, but maybe even I'll be out in Saudi soon.
Yeah.
It's already been spoken about a couple of times. We just have to see the right fights at the right time to get me over there. And if the right opportunity comes, I'll take it. If the wrong opportunity comes, maybe I don't take it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's already fighters that are getting opportunities out there and stuff. But yeah, Matchroom have always looked after me and put me on really good cards and shows as it is. 3 pay-per-view shows. I think 3 pay-per-view shows already put me on. So, yeah, nice. And they put me on in Eddie's Garden in COVID.
Class, that was.
Yeah.
For people to watch it. I remember watching. Is it Dillian White who got knocked out there, wasn't it?
Yeah,
there were some great events in that.
Yeah, unbelievable experience. There was.
Is that really his house as well?
It used to be. Now it's his offices. Yeah, so that's where all Matchroom work and like my team. I've got my corner team are also based in the Matchroom offices. Yeah. So yeah, that's where they work and do all their ins and outs of day-to-day life. Eddie's office there as well. He's got a little farm with like llamas or alpacas and stuff running around. Cool place.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was his childhood home. Really good events though. Really good events.
Yeah.
How they managed to get that structured with when we had COVID restrictions and lockdowns.
Obviously, that was a COVID thing, but can you see something like that coming back? Because I mean, people seem to love it, didn't they? It was an enjoyable thing to watch.
Yeah, it was really, really good. I think it should happen again, even if it's not nobody in the crowd. There was a time just after COVID where there was the garden fights and there was a small crowd. I was there, and that was really good.
Yeah.
There was a lot of like street food type things going on.
Yeah.
That was a really interesting event to see. So I think that it should come back.
Yeah.
Whether it will or not, I don't know, because it ruins his garden, ruins his grass. I don't know how long it takes to come back to good condition.
That is good. Obviously, yeah, so British boxing's thriving, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you say, here and over in Saudi England or Britain are firing all cylinders at the minute, aren't they?
Yeah. For such a small little island, we're doing absolute wonders in boxing, in sport, and everything. But yeah, it's really good to see. It really is, because really, with how small we are, we probably shouldn't even have a foot in the door.
Wow.
But we somehow do.
Yeah, one thing obviously we did want to touch on, big fight coming up. I think it's this weekend, isn't it? Mike Tyson back in action against Jake Paul.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on these YouTubers getting a crack at big fights and stuff?
I'm all for people being able to make their money. And I understand the business side of boxing. I understand that it's gone more towards a business and away from a sport. It's now about how many eyes you can pull in, how many views you make, because it's all about, really, these promoters have got to make money. Yeah. And then if they make money, we make money. Without it, it doesn't really happen. There's not the opportunities. It's not the spectacle it is. So it just has to come hand in hand. These YouTubers are bringing a new audience to boxing, I believe. Some people say that it doesn't cross over, but I really do believe it does. People are watching boxing that never would have watched boxing, regardless of whether the YouTuber's there or not. But look at the likes of Katie Taylor versus Serrano. It's the same show. That's a massive headline fight, but they're not headlining that show. But they've got a whole new audience that are about to watch them. Jake Paul has took those two to a different level of stars. Really, he's given massive open door for female boxing there as well. I think it's all good.
Will that hurt Katie Taylor though? That massive fight is not the main event, or will she just go about her business as normal? And you reckon she'll be a bit like put back by that?
She's a fighter, she's a boxer, and I think she understands everything too. So I don't. Yes, in the back of her mind, she may have been a little bit disheartened that it wasn't a main event fight, because it could be, should be, maybe New York, massive fight. But she will get over that. It is what it is. Like, the world don't revolve around one specific person all the time. We're a small species in such a massive universe. Like, it's not all about this person. It's not all about that person. You zoom out far enough, you don't even see the planet. Like, we're not that important. You just have to get on with it and do what you've got to do and give it your best. And that's all you can actually ask for from yourself, and all anyone can ask for as well. So I don't think that she'll be too fussed about not being a main event. It's a huge opportunity for her. It really is. And yes, the YouTubers and stuff, a lot of people have a lot of negative to say. And I see their point. I do see their point. But it's, in my opinion, a good thing.
Yeah.
It really is. There's more sponsors, there's more opportunities, there's more eyes coming. There's more just things that we can do even outside of boxing, because the YouTubers have opened those doors. But they're two separate things. Like, YouTubers and boxers, They shouldn't be in the same ring.
No.
It's dangerous. This Mike Tyson first Jake Paul fight, that's a different one. Jake Paul has manufactured his career in such a way. Personally, I believe Jake Paul wins this fight. I think that Mike Tyson's too old. I don't think there's a 58, 59-year-old on this planet that could beat me in a boxing ring.
No.
And yes, I believe I beat Jake Paul as well. So it doesn't really correlate. But Jake Paul is he's a young man in his prime. He hits very hard. Mike Tyson had a lot of punishment over the years.
Am I right in saying this is going on his record then if he loses?
I think it is, but I don't understand how, because it's not even professional rules.
No.
You've got 2-minute rounds, 8 2-minute rounds against a guy he's had pro fights, but I don't really know how they've classed as pro fights when the other fighters have not even been pro fighters.
No.
It is what it is. Like I said, we crack on, we move on. We just see it for what it is. It's a spectacle. It's entertainment business. It's not sport. It's business. That's what it is. But the YouTubers, stay away from boxers because it's dangerous.
Yeah, of course.
It is. It's dangerous for boxers fighting boxers, let alone non-boxers fighting boxers. It's a dangerous game. People getting punched in their head. So
just to complete the loop, obviously your fight, 30th of November. Where can we watch that?
That is on DAZN.
Yeah.
But you can also watch it by being in the venue.
Yeah.
There's a few tickets left.
Is there?
Not many. It got sold out enough pretty quickly. I couldn't even get my hands on many tickets at all to give to my friends, family, to sell to my friends and family. So it's an event that's being watched.
Yeah.
And the arena, is basically full. But it'd be good to see some Northampton people in the venue.
Definitely, yeah.
And if you can't make it, definitely catch it on DAZN. It's a very good show. There's talent from top to bottom of this card. Every single fight has meaning and interest behind it.
Nice, good man. Can we, before we go, first get your prediction for, well, we got it, didn't we, for Mike Tyson, Jake Paul? You're saying Jake Paul?
I think Jake Paul beats Mike Tyson.
Yeah. You're going to knock Ryan Kelly out?
I knocked Ryan Kelly out.
And then, obviously, you got Sonny Edwards. Is he winning?
I think Sonny Edwards wins that fight. He's a very tricky fighter. Hard to get hold of, hard to pin down. And he's been very experienced now in the pro ranks, whereas Yafai may not have the experience that it might take. He's a very, very talented fighter, though, Yafai. One of the best there is. But in a pro fight, 10 and 12 rounds is a long time to try and catch somebody.
Yeah. Good man. I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you for coming out.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
That's all right, man. Hopefully you get a big turnout Saturday. And then, good luck on the 30th.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much.